you're someone that's in school, that has a job, and you're young, one of the things I would tell you to mainly avoid in life is one simple thing, and that is social media doom scrolling. Now, social media itself, like the title says, is something that does affect your mental health. It definitely happened to me and a lot of people that I know because we're always consuming something. But one of the worst things that I possibly sometimes do, but did a lot more back in the day, was doom scrolling. Now, if you don't know what doom scrolling is, it's basically the act of you going on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and all of those things and scrolling for hours and hours and hours and not realizing that, hey, this time has passed and you've been doing the same action with your finger, not progressing in anything. Now, I want to give a great example of how, like, my favorite show, Breaking Bad, I love that show. I hadn't seen it in years, and I wanted to start watching it again. Now, what motivated me to start watching it was also seeing clips. Now, I was seeing edits and clips of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, all that. And I found myself almost scrolling for nearly 2 hours when I needed to do an assignment. Now, that is one of the things that I mean, is that it will affect your mental health in a sense of you might have something that you need to do, and because you're doom scrolling, you're going to be late to submit something. You're going to not realize that you wasted all this time and you could have done something, and it affects your mental. It takes a toll on you because you're so preoccupied doing something that is not guaranteeing you anything in life other than looking at videos for 5 seconds. And if I asked you to go on TikTok right now, scroll for 10 minutes, and tell me all the videos that you are not going to remember every single video that you saw. Probably you might get to the last 10 videos and you'll probably forget all 10 of them. If anything, you'll probably just remember the two last ones. And even then, I don't think you'd remember the last one after a day if I asked you. So what are you really benefiting in your life by doing this? Now, at the same time, one of the worst things I did was in the morning. Now, if you get up in the morning and you're someone that grabs your phone and goes on it, that's already the thing that is going to fuck you up the most. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is what I would do. I would get up in the morning, look at my phone when I was supposed to go to school or do some work, and then I'd realize that, hey, 30 minutes has passed. I set an alarm for 8 and I got up almost at 9:30. Now, this is something that a lot of people I feel can relate to. And obviously, it's not something that we go and publicly talk about because who wants to say that they're lying in bed in the morning for almost 2 hours scrolling on their phone? And because you're consuming so much media, it's going to affect your perception about like reality. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you doom scroll, you see things on your phone. And when you start seeing things on your phone, it might make you feel like anxious because you're like, oh crap, like because I see so much of this, how negative this thing is, it might have, when I see this in real life, I might be scared of it, or I might, I want to avoid it because what I'm doing is, I see it so much, all this propaganda on social media, and it's telling me all this stuff. And it's just, now I have to change my perception on my life because social media is telling me. And that's the thing. And one of the worst things too is Cornhub. I'll call it Cornhub to keep it, PG and whatnot, because that is something that messes you up constantly, and it has to do with social media. It's a media, and what you're doing is you're consuming this, again, you're consuming this media in your head and seeing it, and it's giving you dopamine and that pleasure and whatnot. But when it comes to things in reality, you are so distant from it and you don't know how to act in real life. Now, I have a story of a guy that would watch porn twice a day when I used to work, and this mentally took a toll on him. He dropped out of school. He only worked and he was depressed and he was all that. And I'm not saying that him watching porn every day made him do all of these things and made him feel that way, but it is a factor because after he did it, he would tell us that, hey, I just don't feel mentally good after. And that's the thing. It's such a bad addiction and a bad thing to have in your mind that it's just ruining who you are as a person. You start losing yourself and you lose a sense of reality. And when you lose a sense of reality, you start having a low sense of esteem. A low self-esteem is such an important thing to consider when you start watching and consuming new things, because you're putting yourself down as a person. No one is insulting you. No one is, bullying you, but you're bullying your mind and you're telling yourself all these things that you need to consume because they make you feel good. But because you're not going out in the public and understanding what reality is, when it happens in real life, when you see a girl for the first time or when you go, you're just not going to feel as excited, or you're just not going to feel reality. And I don't know how to explain it in a sense. It's more of like, hey, you see a girl, and because you consume so much corn, you'll probably get erectile dysfunction or something like that. A lot of people say that, and it's the reality. As funny as it is, it's the reality of things. And I really wanted to emphasize on how me constantly being on like Twitter, seeing all these things, it's just putting bad images of that I don't need to see. And politics too. Now, I'm not someone that will ever get into politics on this channel, but you are forced to see all these things about politics when you're just trying to innocently open Facebook, innocently open Twitter or Instagram, and even Snapchat nowadays. It's just all these things trying to, pressure you into following and doing. Now, I mentioned in a video called Stop Comparing Yourself, but it goes with social media. You're comparing yourself to others and their lives. And when you see that, it just puts you more down mentally, because you want to be someone that you are not. You want to become this successful person that they're posting on social media. And because you're not getting those millions of dollars, or because you're not doing these easy hustles, or posting all these YouTube shorts that make people thousands of dollars a month, you're going to think, hey, I am wasting my time, and then I could be doing this easy money or whatnot, and these people are living lavish lives. But because I'm not doing it, I need to, do the whole 9 to 5 thing and then sit at a desk all day and make money. That's the thing. You're telling yourself this, and so you're going to make that reality happen because you're looking at it from someone else's perspective. It doesn't mean what they post is what reality is. You're not seeing behind the scenes. You're seeing what they post. A lot of people rent shit like cars and all that. These sports cars, they rent and they say they own it. It's a fabrication of reality. You need to realize that reality is completely different than social media on how things are being perceived. Because of the constant exposure of something and opinions, like I said, it's going to give you that stress and anxiety, and it just leads to overwhelming of information. And when you see it in person, it's just unnecessary energy because of social media. And also, the one thing that is really important is your attention span. Now, the constant scrolling and the short form content that I was speaking at the beginning can make it so hard for you to focus on something that takes longer to do. And I definitely seen it, because I'm someone that's currently in the education system. I don't want to sit down and do an essay that's going to take me hours to do, because honestly, I want to get it over with. How can that affect, how can videos affect my essay? Because I prefer the short-term things that are long-term, regardless of what they are, a video or not, I'm not going to want to do it. I want to do things that are going to give me, a result in seconds. And that's the thing. It's just reducing your tasks, and you're going to be able to not do as many tasks that take time and effort. And it overall just affects your creativity, because you are doing something that's probably, like I said, short term or something. It's not going to give you enough time to actually do it. Now, the thing with social media is it has a lot of benefits. And don't get me wrong, I think that we need social media for research and all that. But you need to use social media in a way where you're not letting it affect you as a person. If you're letting these opinions, this news, and all this stuff affect who you are as an individual, then you're already falling into the trap of a negative mindset. And that's why social media and overall doom scrolling, all that, will affect your mental health. You might not realize it, but that phone of yours that you hold in your hand is something that has so much power to change you as a person, that it could either do really good things for you, or it could be your own self-destruction. You know the term, keep your enemies close? Well, your phone is always close to you. And if it's causing you mental health issues, then I would say it's probably your enemy. But that's enough of me rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do have a new mic I wanted to try out that I got. So please let me know if this is a good mic, or I should go back to my old one. And I would just like to say thank you guys for the amount of support on my pros and cons of a 9 to 5. I didn't expect that video to go so huge in views and all that, so I really appreciate you guys. But anyways, guys, again, it's been Fellow. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. Stay smart.